Namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you in this daily live meditation session with me, Dhyanse. We are meditating on 112 meditation techniques of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. Fear, this 4-letter ugly word, this most dangerous drug in the whole world. What is this? We are living in this fear, not just now, all throughout our lives. What is this 4-letter ugly word, fear? Is it a thought? Is it an emotion? Is it natural? Is it unnatural? Is it self-created? Is it a reality? Is it an illusion? What is this fear? We all live this fear all the time. What is this fear? Unless we pay attention to that, unless we resolve that, unless we deal with that at some point of time in life, all our life is somehow, somewhat driven by this undercurrent of fear. What is fear? Give yourself these moments to contemplate what is fear. It does not matter what kind of fear you have, the fear of heights, the fear of darkness, the fear of being alone, the fear of anything, the fear of not being loved. It doesn't matter what all these different derivatives of fear are. Go underneath all these fears. Go below these derivatives to what is really fear. Where all this is coming from. Is this a thought? Is this an emotion? Is this real or is this unreal? Take these moments to contemplate over what is fear. And you will see as you bring your awareness to this fear, if you take this awareness that you have and point it at fear, not in what is written in the books, not in what is told by others, in your own experience, you'll see that it is both real and both an illusion. You know deep down that it is an illusion, but you still have it as real. You still feel it as real. What is this fear? If you break this down, this tree, all these derivatives of whatever kind of fear that you have, you will see that more or less there are these two different buckets, two different sources of fear, or two different types of fear. One is the fear of death, and the other is the fear of suffering. This fear of death is the strangest fear that we have. We have never faced death. We have never been dead. From where is this fear of death coming from? Once Buddha, he was approached by a woman who had lost her son, a 13-year-old son. She went to Buddha. She said, you are such an enlightened man. You're known to change, transform everyone's life. My son is dead. Help me bring him back to life. She cried and she did everything to persuade Buddha. Buddha remained silent. And she said, how heartless you are that you are not bringing this son to life. Don't you see my pain? Don't you see how much pain and anguish I am in? Please bring my son back to life. Buddha said to the woman, okay, I will do that. I will bring your son back to life, but on one condition. You go out in the village, you get me some grains of rice from that house where no death has taken place. You go to the village, go to any house, it does not matter which house, go to any house, get me some grains of rice which from a house where no death has taken place. The woman immediately, she found the ray of hope. She immediately stopped crying, packed her bags, went to the village directly that day, and she roamed around the whole day in the village, knocked every door, asking for some rice, asking for few grains of rice, and every door that she knocked, she asked, she talked, has anyone died here? The answer was some or the other person had died in that place. The whole day she roamed around every house in that village. After hundreds of houses, she understood what Buddha wanted to teach her. She understood what was the point of going to each of these houses. She realized that there is nowhere where death had not happened. And her sorrow, her anguish, it somewhat melted away. She went back, fell into the feet of Buddha, and from there on she said, "Now teach me what is deathless." So to have that understanding of death, to have that understanding of what life and death is, it takes you out of this fear of death. And then there is this fear of suffering. If you see that all your fears, it does not matter what kind of fear you have, they're all some form of this fear of suffering. You don't want to suffer aloneness. You don't want to suffer misery. You don't want to suffer poverty. You don't want to suffer the lack of love. All this is the fear of suffering. And if you put all these together, the fear of death, the fear of suffering, go even one level deeper to the very deepest core of yourself, you will find out that fear is this self that you have created, that what you call as self is the root of all fear. Where is this sense of self coming from? See that a child is fearless. A child, you have to teach the child to not touch this or not touch that. The child is fearless. The child has no sense of fear. So this fear that we all have, this is learned, this is artificial, this is created. It is not natural. We are not born with that fear. This fear arises from this unnatural sense of self we give to ourselves. The moment we are born, the moment we come to this life as individuals, this disconnect from the whole, this disconnect from the bigger, when that happens, when from you being the whole, you become this one, you become this individual, you become this self. The moment there is this disconnect from the whole and this sense of self, fear comes along with that. Fear is a derivative of the self. Self in itself is only as real as your awareness. In the 100% clarity, in the full clarity of your awareness, in pure consciousness, you see that there is no self. You see you are the whole, you are not the self. And when you see that, when you realize that, when you experience that there is no self, that you are no self, in those moments, truly there is no fear. Otherwise, it remains an intellectual concept. It remains an intellectual agreement or disagreement. What is fear? How to overcome fear? To think about this to overcome fear, to do that to overcome fear, all remains on the surface. Unless this deeper core of what you call as self, unless this is seen as no self, unless you see there is nobody inside, unless you come to terms with this nothingness, with this wholeness that you have inside of you, that you are, unless you become the no self, there will always be fear. And in that state of fear, you live all your life. And whatever arises out of that fear is never going to be satisfying. It is always going to be externally maneuvered. Because in fear, in the state of fear, not even your intelligence works. It is somewhat like an intoxication of the most dangerous drug in the world. When you're intoxicated with fear, whatever you think you're thinking, your intelligence is responding, is not arising out of your intelligence, is not arising out of your critical thinking, is not arising out of your truth. It is all a projection of your fear. So it is so essential to uproot this fear, to come to terms with your no self, with your emptiness. Let us listen to the technique that Bhairava has given to us in Vigyan Bhairav Tantra to us for today, which is all about getting back to this no self, being in this emptiness, being in this void, this wholeness that we are. Tantra says, meditate simultaneously on the void above and the base to become void-minded by the energy that is independent of the body. Let me repeat. Meditate simultaneously on the void above and at the base to become void-minded and by the energy that is independent of the body. First of all, what do you have to do? In the last 2 sessions, we have already been experimenting, exploring these techniques of emptiness. Firstly, we looked at the emptiness in the polarity of the right and the left, and we said remain in the middle. In the middle, there is no polarity. You come out of that polarity, you come out of the mind, you're thrown back to your true nature. That was an indirect way of putting you into emptiness. Then the technique that we did yesterday, where you simultaneously surround yourself with emptiness, that technique is still on the periphery. It is still difficult to jump into that understanding, into that emptiness, that everywhere there is emptiness. So here now Bhairava breaks it down in the further techniques. He breaks it down into pieces for those who are completely new to the idea of emptiness. He says, meditate simultaneously on the void above and at the base. So here you will first of all visualize, you will realize, you will imagine, if need be, the emptiness in your head and the emptiness at your base. So 2 places simultaneously, at the above and the below. At the top of your head, in your head, you will visualize that your entire head is empty. Your entire face, your entire head is completely empty. It is nothingness. It is pure emptiness. And at the same time, you will visualize, you will realize, you will tune into this sense that your base, your root, your Mooladhara is emptiness. So for that, you have to bring your awareness to the region below your navel, starting from your navel to the perineum. All this region, the very bottom, the base, the root of your body. Once you simultaneously bring this awareness of emptiness to the top of your head, to the head, and to the root, to the base of your body, what happens in this emptiness, when you bring this emptiness to these 2 extremes of the body, suddenly your entire body starts to become empty. The physical sense of being starts to disappear, and you're thrown in your energy, second energy body, in your pranic energy body. So you're moving away from the physical to the energy. So that is one step that you can take in this meditation. And here Bhairava says to become void-minded. what also happens when you physically feel the emptiness from the top to the bottom, you also have a thoughtless mind. Your mind also becomes completely free of thoughts. In that thoughtlessness, in that stillness, in that emptiness, slowly you come out of this idea of self, because the self is mostly created by the body, by the mind. Your body gives you the sense of self. Your mind gives you the sense of self. When there is no body, when there is no mind, this sense of self also starts to fade away, melt away. In that, rest. In that sense of no self, rest. Rest as deeply as you can. Disappear in this silence if you can. Let us take this in our experience. Let us try this technique from Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. I will guide you through the steps. Please close your eyes. Take a posture that is comfortable for you, with your head, neck, and back straight, aligned, and at rest. Breath flowing in and out at its natural pace. Awareness to the root of your body, to the area below your navel, all the way to perineum. And visualize, connect, realize the emptiness in this region of your body. As if below the navel there is pure emptiness. There is only emptiness, void. And at the same time, awareness at your head, and visualizing that your head is empty. Emptiness in your head, emptiness at your root. Shifting awareness to these two emptinesses simultaneously, to your head, to your root. Go on imagining, visualizing that your head is emptiness, your root, your base is emptiness. The region in your head and the region below your navel in your physical body. Allowing the emptiness to grow, to expand in your head and at your base simultaneously. All your energies, your thought, your emotion, all in this visualization of emptiness at your head and at the root. Allowing your body to relax. This emptiness of your head and your base. and let go of all effort. Stay in this emptiness, in this silence. No visualization. Let go of all the contents in your consciousness. Let all disappear in emptiness. Only awareness remains. Hold, maintain this silence. The stillness. In these moments, let go of yourself. At last, hold, at last, grasp, release that grasp and relax in this emptiness, in this silence. Slowly awareness back to your body, to your mind, to your breath, and gently open your eyes. Maintaining this sense of no self, of emptiness, remaining aware of this transition as you open your eyes from no self to the self, which you live all throughout your day. Maintain this sense of no self along with the self as you move, as you do whatever you do in your daily life. Thank you very much. Namaste. If you feel the inner calling to explore more of this emptiness, of this no self, with other meditators beyond this space of meditation, living the meditation, going and taking this truth from the meditation to your daily life. If you feel the inner calling for that, I welcome you to join the community that we have created of meditators. It is my pleasure to see how everyone has come together to live this space, to keep this fire, this energy of this space alive in their own lives while remaining connected to everyone else. If you feel naturally drawn to remain connected to everyone that is there in the space right now, you're most welcome to join our community of meditators. For that, please write me an email with a little bit about yourself, your interest in the community, your calling for the community, and what would you like to give back to the community. Once again, thank you very much. Namaste.